is that maybe there's a risk that we go back into a little bit too much stimulus and a little bit too much populism, and
Okay.
we need to push back a little bit from that. I saw that the Bank of Thailand said there were three main reasons why we had the slowdown in Q1, and the first one was that they commented on the weakness in the global economy.
Yes.
We all know that in the US they had the bad weather and they used that as the excuse why they had a recession, but actually I think they had a lot of other problems beside that. So weakness in the global economy hurts Thailand. I think the second thing that they said was about the consumer debt buildup, which was a constraint on
household
consumption.
debt,
Household debt was a real problem. And then the third thing they said was about the political uncertainty. So we can't we can't just assume that reverting to a growth policy is going to fix all of those things. It isn't. We're not going to get automobile consumption, domestic car consumption back to the level it was.
But that's real populist policy.
Exactly. So we need to be careful not to repeat those mistakes because they were starting to hurt the economy. So I think we do need a period of consolidation. We need to keep consumer debt levels at sustainable levels, and we need to keep some ammunition spare. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say when we have a military government, but we need to keep some tools spare, because one of the things that really worries us, I think the biggest risk to the Thai economy right now is nothing to do with the military or the junta. I don't think it's anything to do with Thailand. I think our biggest risk and our biggest problem is actually overseas. I think it's the world. I think it's the global economy. And I think the exports are 60-70% of the Thai economy. If we see any slowdown in exports, that's the thing that really hurts the Thai economy. And I'm really worried about the state of the global economy today.
Which country you really worry about? China or the US or Europe?
Actually, all of those. All of those. I think they're all a mess.
Really? But some saw the sign of picking up in the growth rate, like the GDP of European country, Japanese, and also China, maybe not, but
Well, exactly. I think if we look at China's facing a lot of structural problems. How does it go from this export economy that was exporting to the States at huge surplus, exporting to the world, but primarily the States? How does it go from that to a consumption economy? That transition is going to be painful, and we're seeing a real slowdown in growth while they try to figure that out. And there's a lot of structural problems there with the way that debt is structured in China.
Yes, so the local government and everything.
Exactly. The local government, the shadow banking, the platforms, everything. So China terrifies us. America, I think, is also a really scary situation because if you look at real underlying data, like the number of people who have jobs, if you look at housing starts, they're actually pretty weak. Most of the comparisons that make them look good are maybe with 2009 or something like that. But if you do a longer term comparison, they look
still
awful.
it's not coming up.
Exactly. It was a really big move down and a very small bounce up, which it seems to be running out of steam already. So the US, I think, is a real problem, and that's a key problem for Thailand because that's such a major export market like China.
Yeah, but if US still have a problem, they still keep on the QE. So that may be good for the capital market.
I think it'll be good for the capital market. It doesn't seem to help the real economy. That's the problem. That we're now in a real. But whatever happens to the U.S. capital markets doesn't necessarily help Thailand. What happens to the U.S. real economy directly affects Thailand. So
through the export.
To the export. So if U.S. actually generates GDP growth and actually, therefore requires more imports, that's good for Thailand. But we could see the Dow soaring to 17,000, 18,000 or whatever. That doesn't have a direct effect on Thailand if the real economy in the US is slowing. So I think all of these overseas problems could really affect Thailand because we have such a dependence on exports and such a dependence on export growth that I think the risk of an exogenous shock from overseas happening this year, next year, I think that's a really high risk for Thai policymakers.